The NBA Finals are where legacies are made or where legacies can potentially be broken. NBA teams and players climb all the way up the mountaintop every year, battling injuries, outside noise, and many other factors to put it all on the line to be crowned champion. For one team, you realize your dream and get to enjoy all of the glory of being crowned the world champion of the game you grew up loving. For the other team, it's a long summer ahead, and last season almost feels meaningless as you played into June but with no reward. Today, we will go over the two teams in the 2024 NBA Finals and what they have at stake and what's to gain this year. This year, the respective parties are the Dallas Mavericks of the Western Conference and the Boston Celtics of the Eastern Conference. Let's get into it.
What's at stake for the Boston Celtics? The chance to finally finish their story. Honestly, I've made a couple videos centered around the Boston Celtics recently on this channel, so I don't feel like going too in-depth on them, but we should all know their story by now. If there's any team in the league that's due for an NBA championship, it's definitely the Boston Celtics. Theoretically, their title window has been open since 2018, and they've made the conference finals 6 out of the last 8 years, and one of the years that they didn't make it, Jaylen Brown was hurt for the entirety of the NBA playoffs. This is by far their easiest road to the finals, accompanied by their best team since Tatum was drafted as well. By winning this NBA championship in 2024, Jason Tatum finally gets that monkey off his back and picks up ring number 1 and potentially a finals MVP, all at the age of just 26. For reference, guys like LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and many other all-time greats took a couple years longer to get their first ring, so Jason Tatum would actually be ahead of schedule a little bit. As I mentioned in my last video, Tatum, like a lot of stars, has a lot of conversations around his name, his game, his consistency, and his personality. But when you win an NBA championship with the resume that he has, those haters will have no choice but to give up the respect, and he will be a shoo-in for a Hall of Famer and a Celtics legend. This will be the beginning of a potentially top 25 player of all time. Other guys on the Celtics, such as Jrue Holiday, will get his second championship ring to go along with being one of the best defenders of this era, and that would be an awesome possibility of a Hall of Fame career as well. Kristaps Porzingis will also get a ring, adding to his legacy as the first unicorn in basketball, and the trade for him in last year's offseason will be seen as a total success. And of course, we cannot forget Jaylen Brown, who will add to his resume as an all-star and star player and start to build his own Hall of Fame case, as well as being the co-star or lead star to Jason Tatum through this era and throughout this NBA Finals run. He and Tatum become a duo to win an NBA championship, which is something that is not very common in NBA history as well. Lastly, Al Horford would get a ring, which he has been long starring for since about a decade ago in 2015. His Hall of Fame case starts to look much better, and he probably go out to retire after finally reaching the mountaintop through his long and storied career. To put it simply, it's not an overstatement to say everything's on the line for this year's Boston Celtics team. You got the easiest path in the Eastern Conference. Kristaps Porzingis is coming back and everyone should be healthy. The finals opponent boasts 2 current players that have some past rivalries to your franchise, and they're a good team, so people will give you credit for beating this Dallas Mavericks team, who has the best player in the series and other good players as well. This is their best shot to win now and would be seen as the biggest failure and stain on the JT and JB era should they come up short in this year's NBA Finals. On the other side is the dark horse of this NBA season. Everyone expected the Celtics to be here in the NBA Finals, but not the 5th-seeded Dallas Mavericks. But don't be fooled though. The 5th-seeded boasts the best player left in the playoffs and potentially the best player in the world in Luka Doncic, an all-time great and legend of the game still in his prime in Kyrie Irving, and multiple role players who fit seamlessly around their star players and help them where they come up short. The Mavericks' first championship since 2011 will be an absolutely historic event that will bring forth many new narratives. Luka's resume is already insane at his young age, but getting a ring this early and most likely a Finals MVP would just put him on another trajectory. He's going to be a shoo-in for first-team All-NBAs and All-Stars for the next 10 years. He'll likely win a multiple MVPs as soon as the media actually gives him his respect. He could have even won one this year, but winning a championship after going through the Clippers, who had home court in the series and they were a solid opponent, the number 1 seed and who ended up being the number 2 most voted on player for MVP in SGA and the Oklahoma City Thunder in 6, and then beating the 3-seeded Minnesota Timberwolves with the best defense in the playoffs and who had just come off of eliminating the previous champions in the Denver Nuggets. And then to go on and beat the Boston Celtics, who were the favorites to win the chip almost all year long, would be a very impressive run for a superstar like Luka Doncic. Winning this chip would prove all the naysayers that said Doncic's style wouldn't work to win the championship and compared him to James Harden.
and he'd be regarded as the best player in the league, potentially the face of the league as well. He'd almost certainly be on a path to being a top 10 player of all time. For Kyrie Irving, this one would be personal. Kyrie's story has been straight out of a book so far in his career. He has been loved. He's reached a mountaintop already before in Cleveland next to LeBron James. He wanted to find himself in Boston, but realized that wasn't for him. He searched some more and seen the lowest of the lows when he ended up in Brooklyn. Media heads called for his retirement. He was a head case, a locker room distraction. But since he's got to the Mavs, it's been more on the up and up. The vibes are high, and his game is the only thing that matters now. And winning a chip as the second star again, this time versus his previous team in the Boston Celtics, who he obviously has some feelings for still, will possibly be more valuable than his first championship in Cleveland. Kyrie Irving is already an established legend with his GOAT tier handles, and he's one of the best scorers of all time as well. Winning this championship while putting his full game on display, playing defense, and really leading a team in multiple ways after his recent narratives around his name would be a full circle moment that NBA fans would love. As for the rest of the Mavericks, PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford go from worst to first in what would be regarded as one of, if not the best trade deadline move in NBA history, as they've been huge in this playoff run and since they landed on the Dallas Mavericks. Derrick Jones Jr. would go on to win an NBA championship after not being signed and being signed for the minimum. He'd no doubt get paid for this as he's turned into a good 3-and-D player and still a great athlete, able to catch lobs and attack closeouts sometimes. Derek Lively will also go on to win an NBA championship in his rookie year, and he will be doing that after the unfortunate events of his parents passing away, which is a very heartfelt moment for NBA fans and I'm sure the Dallas Mavericks as well.
So there you have it. That's everything that's on the line in these NBA finals, and it's a lot to gain and potentially a lot to lose on both sides. It's always important when making the NBA finals to capitalize on it once you're there for a superstar or organization, because it's not a shoo-in that you'll be there any other time in the future with how talented this league is and emerging stars every single day and year. Enjoy the video, please subscribe, like, or show love to the video down below in the comments or anything. I'm out, and I'll be seeing you guys on another video very soon. Peace.